Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, March 5th, 2024. Goodness, it's March already. And it's daylight saving time this Sunday. It's gonna be like 60-degree weather. It's going to be sunny at like after 7 o'clock. This is a beautiful spring winter we're having so far. This week, we are being joined by Director of the Aging and Disability Resource Center, or commonly known as ADRC, of Barron and Rusk counties, Jennifer Jako. But first, for Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Dryden Wire founder Ben Dryden, and you are watching The Big Show, Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today, see what they can do for you. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Fitzy, good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. It's gorgeous. Yeah. This is so nuts. I just love it.
And we're going to lose the time change, and we lose an hour, and it's going to get lighter, darker. Cheaper.
Later, darker. Sounds like a yogiism. That's great.
Great morning.
Yeah. Oh, this is so wonderful. So we, of course, are chatting with Jen this morning. You wanted her to come on. There were several things you want to talk about, so I will allow you to give the introduction to our guest this morning, and then why is it specifically that you wanted to make sure that she came on and talked to us today?
Sure. Jen and I work together at the county. Jen, how long have you been at the county?
10 years.
10 years. So, yeah, and I've been the sheriff 16 years. So Jen and I have worked together the last 10 years in the ADRC function with the sheriff's department. So I wanted Jen to come on to talk about ADRC, all the programs that they offer, why they're so important. I've learned a lot about ADRC from Jen, from Meals on Wheels to just our contact with people, our aging population in Barron County. And I know she handles Rusk County also, and there's ADRCs all over. Every county has an ADRC. It's a county function. It's not a board. You asked me if I was on the board. It's not.
I just assumed that you're.
It's not a nonprofit. I mean, it is kind of because the county's a nonprofit. But yeah, Jen runs our program and does unbelievable job, her and her staff. And so I wanted to come on and talk about all the things that people can volunteer for or get help for. There's just tons of programs that the ADRC does for people.
My goodness. So I did not know the Meals on Wheels was the ADRC. I'm sure I did, but I just kind of forgot to tie those two together. So Jen, good morning. Thanks so much for coming on.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and thank you to the crack team, the IT team. Right before the show, we had a technical issue, and they were Johnny on the spot and fixed it, we think. So that is outstanding. Yeah.
Shout out to Lance, right?
What's that?
Shout out to Lance.
Lance, he's legit. He did a lot of work for Chris to get that's the whole thing. If you're watching the show for a while, you'll know all about, you know about Lance. So I have some basic info here that was about you. You have a Bachelor of Science. Before we get into the ADRC and what that means, because I don't fully understand like the scope of all of it, and I'm assuming there's others that don't either. But let's talk about you first. You have a Bachelor of Science in dietetics. I never even heard that word before. Assuming it has to deal with diets and nutrition.
Nutrition, yeah.
Got it. You've worked in a variety of settings, including healthcare, long-term healthcare, and public health. Yeah, you've been with ADRC, as you just mentioned, for 10 years. It says of Barron and Rusk counties. I could have sworn this was Washburn was in that at some point, too. I know they have their own. Wasn't Washburn a part of like this other group, like this, I don't know, consortium or something?
Yes, you're correct. Across the state, there might be single county ADRCs and there might be regional ADRCs, and that's shifting all of the time. And so we used to be the ADRC of Barron, Rusk, and Washburn County. So now we are two different ADRCs, Barron and Rusk, and then yes, the ADRC of Washburn has their own ADRC.
When did that switch, or like, I wouldn't say a breakup, but when did that stop?
About a year ago.
A year,
so
okay.
2023. Yeah.
Got it. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, Steve and Dirk and Jody and Kirk Anderson, our good friend Kirk, and Mike Schaefer as well. And Sharon, thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. If you have a question for our guest, Jen, please make sure you put that in the comments. Fitz, you're going to say something?
Yeah, we can blame Dave Wilson for that breakup. No, I'm just kidding. We can't.
Dave Wilson. God, I lost my ding button on there. Shoot.
Hey, wait, Ben, you're going to be on the county board. Then you can join back up. You can my mission is to join back up with Barron County. There.
I didn't know that was the thing. I don't even know anything about that. See, this is all good for me. This is all prep work for me. So when I get on the board, I understand. I don't look like a complete moron. when I'm
Ben's
on
going
there.
to be on the county board in Washburn
Which
County,
is-
Jen. That's what we're talking about.
So moving on, we're talking about Jen. It says here the mission of ADRC is to provide older adults, people with disability. So now we're getting the ADRC part of it. But for you, why did you make this switch before you were whatever you were doing before you started at ADRC 10 years ago? Why did you go to ADRC?
Well, that's a great question. So, my work over my professional career, whether it's healthcare, public health, long-term care, it really now when I'm with the ADRC, I can use all of that experience and everything, kind of all the systems that people might use make more sense to me. So the ADRC, we are a resource center. And so having a good, strong understanding of all the different systems in our community is really helpful.
Give me an example. Other
So-
systems.
Yep. So nursing homes, there may be long-term care nursing home facilities, and we may get customers who call us and talk through, maybe they're trying to consider options. Maybe a loved one needs nursing home care. Maybe they have, there's such a wide variety. Maybe they're looking for information from our local public health department. So knowing those systems and working in them before is really helpful. The ADRC is it's community based, and it's just, I believe in the mission. So everyone in the community, everyone, even not just older adults and adults living with disabilities, but all of those caregivers, the professionals that work with them, businesses, everyone across the community accesses the ADRC for information. And so many of us that work here have a strong background in other systems that help us just really be more aware of what's out there for people.
And how many people are a part of the ADRC in Barron and Rusk counties?
So in the Barron location, we have about 17 full-time staff. We have about 60 part-time staff, and we have about 300 volunteers. Rusk County is about the third of the size of Barron County, so have about a third of the staff and volunteers, if that makes sense.
17. So everything surprises me because I don't know anything about it. But 17 full-time, 60 part-time, and 305. I mean, that's a lot. So what are people doing? I mean that seriously. It sounds funny, but I mean, when they go to work, what are they doing?
Absolutely. So you're going to hear the word specialist probably too many times from me, but we have many different specialists within our agency. We have elder benefit specialists. So they are helping people understand Medicare, Social Security, all of their maybe Medicare Advantage plans, any kind of public and private benefit. Those specialists have ongoing training that, that's probably the number one call we get to our office is helping people wanting to understand, when do I think about Medicare? What are my options? Just their insurance. So many questions about that. We have disability benefit specialists. So they tend to work with people under age 60, so adults 18 to 60. And maybe somebody had a recent diagnosis of an incurable disease. Maybe they've had a recent car accident. There is something that's going on that there is now a disability present. They could have been born with the disability. So we are working with them, assisting them, supporting them in applying for disability and just understanding all of those really complex systems.
I understand.
We have dementia care specialists. So when Chris mentioned, 30 to 40% of our counties, and I can say all of the counties around Barron, are 60 and older population. So that wasn't true, 20 years ago, but the baby boomers are all turning 60 and 65. And so we have, with age is kind of the number one risk factor with dementia. And so we get many, many, many calls about brain health and about caring for somebody with memory loss. And so understanding what those resources are and ideas, our dementia care specialist works with businesses who want to have a good understanding of working with customers with dementia. She works with caregivers and families that are working through that because it really is a journey for many families. And then also working just to make sure our staff are what we call dementia capable and understanding the issues that people have when they call. We also have a nutrition program manager. And so we mentioned earlier, Meals on Wheels. So the ADRC not only has information and resources for people, but we also provide services. So we provide transportation, Meals on Wheels, senior dining at local senior centers. We have a respite program.
What's respite? I've heard of that word, but I to be honest, I don't know what it means.
Really, the idea is you're allowing a caregiver to take a break. So their loved one may come to a day program.
Oh, sure.
So that individual with memory loss gets a day of great socialization for them, and then their caregiver gets what we call respite, a break.
All right. So now we're getting into, that's awesome, like the Meals on Wheels, all that. But I want to go back to, you had said, talking about families. Do you guys happen to have support groups for families who are not dealing with, that sounds horrible, that has a family member that is suffering from, if I'm using that correctly, suffering from dementia? Then the family member, like, how do they, is there like a support group? Are there like meetings kind of a thing? Or just here's a packet, get out of here? Is there something for families as well?
Yeah. And I should mention too, that when people call, everybody's situation is vastly different. So you try to understand what that family is going through or what the needs are, what the supports are. We might work with somebody who is homeless, and we might work with somebody who's a multimillionaire. People have questions across the board. So we understand where their situation is, and then understand what resources may be most beneficial to them, and then really work with them individually. So when you talk about support groups, we know all of the different support groups in the area. So
sure.
We also may host our own support groups. So we do have a support group for family caregivers of those living with Alzheimer's disease. We also have a low vision support group. So support groups you might not think about, but then we also know other support groups in the community. And so if that makes sense for a person, we're going to direct them to that resource as well.
But so that's mostly family or anyway. I mean, if I'm genuinely concerned about Fitzy's mental health, can I call you and like, hey,
you absolutely?
Because I'm not 60.
Got it.
And if it's something that's outside of our scope, then we're going to get you to the right resource. So yes, you can call us.
Okay, so it's never I don't know. Sorry, we couldn't help. It's either we have the answer or we'll get the answer for you.
Yes.
Either we provide it or we know somebody who does.
And
So
Ben, I think Jen, I mean, they have these support groups and these talks that they do. And I mean, our banks have our dementia specialists that go out, and because a lot of these people the dementia people come to banks. We just had a silver alert last night, which is a statewide broadcast that says, hey, we're looking for a dementia. And the guy made it from Burnsville, Minnesota, all the way to Wisconsin Dells. And he had stopped along the way, and law enforcement was looking for him. But dementia specialists come out and show these gas station workers, these bankers, like, this person keeps coming in withdrawing $1,000 cash. I mean, they don't realize that that's the dementia so they teach these bankers, they teach these gas station people, they teach these motel workers, they teach whoever will listen about dementia and how to deal with it and how to recognize it. And that's what's unique about it. And that's why I love the ADRC and the programs that they offer, because they're helping law enforcement out, and they're helping regular people out. You know, they're really saving lives in some point as they educate these people on what dementia is, how to look for it, how to deal with it, beyond coping with it as a family member and dealing with it and having these respite programs. That's why I think it's so beneficial. If your business is out there looking for something, call ADRC. They'll come to your business morning, noon, or night and do these talks. And that's why Jen and her team it's so special. And that's just not Barron County. Everybody has these programs, so you can do them. You know, your county. You know, I know we cover multiple counties, and we talked about that. But that's why it's so important.
So that must be a call you get often, is how do I know, or I think maybe my family member has dementia, my mom, my dad, or so. That has to be a relatively common call, right?
Top common call. Absolutely. One thing that is important to know is ADRC services are not mandated or required, so they are voluntary. So we may have children of, parents, they're concerned, they come home for Christmas and they notice, mom or dad, something's off, something's different. They're going to call us and say, what are my options? What can I do? Where do I start? And so, we talk that through with them. And hopefully their loved one has some interest in coming in, or, we do home visits. And so a lot of times the start of that might just be kind of building a rapport, getting to know the person, and then we can work with them. We've got tools. We're certified memory screeners. So that could be a potential tool if that person would like to have a memory screen, and that if that indicates, it's not diagnostic, but if that tool indicates, yes, there's some concern, then with their permission, we share that with their provider, or they take that to their provider, and it really gets the ball rolling on what's going on. Because there are also treatable reasons somebody's memory may be declining. It could be as simple as a new medication they started or a vitamin deficiency, but it gets the conversations going and families start understanding what's happening.
What are, if you don't mind sharing a few, what are some kind of telltale signs? Now, granted, everyone's these are just symptoms of something. But, if everyone with WebMD, basically we're all doctors at this point because we have the internet. But you put in like one symptom and it could be like 14 different things, and you're probably going to die tomorrow, so you better go to a doctor. But so there's always like different symptoms that could be applicable, like headaches. Well, that could be 1,000 different things. But are there some that are kind of if this stands out, make sure you give us a call. If you're noticing these 2 or 3 things, wouldn't be a bad idea to call us so we can kind of take this a little bit further. Not saying you have dementia, but right. Kind of yellow flags, borderline red flags.
I think it's really normal for people to be nervous about that, as they age. Yeah. And is it normal aging, or is there something going on? That's what you're asking yourself. And so, really, you need to have the dementia care specialist on here and give a whole spiel of
sure.
Of course, Tricia would love to do that. But we always say, if you're concerned, call us. Memory screens are confidential. We have people walking in all the time asking for that, to get that memory screen. And then there's a baseline there. You can have a memory screen, a year later ongoing, just to keep an eye on those changes. So there's no magic. If this is happening, then, you have dementia. It's really kind of maybe the whole picture of somebody and changes. Because if you've always been forgetful, Ben, then maybe that's your norm.
Right. Yeah, I think I've had dementia for a long time now. So you had 300 volunteers. I mean, that is I never would have guessed that high. How do you get these volunteers? Why do they volunteer? What age groups are these people? If people want to volunteer, and then what are they doing? What are they volunteering for?
So, yes, volunteering is really, really important. It's a really great way to stay social and do meaningful work. So a majority of in Barron County, our volunteers are for our Meals on Wheels program. Probably 250 of those volunteers. 200 of those volunteers are for Meals on Wheels. And why we need so many is, we have 24 different routes that go throughout the entire county, Monday through Friday. Some happen on weekends, but far less routes. And so we need people, and it's generally maybe those in town, within city limit routes that volunteers rotate and do a 15, 30-minute route to deliver to, anywhere from 8 to 20 people on that route. And so we have lots of volunteers that they might do one day a week, they might do every day, they might do one day a month. So lots of great opportunities in that home delivered meal program. As you can imagine, there's not a lot of funding for those programs. And so when we have volunteers, that helps save us costs, and that helps us to serve more people.
All right, I want to stay on Meals on Wheels because that really fascinates me, everything about it. But I want to get to a couple things here real quick. First, this is from Barbara. A very nice comment. Our church, Turtle Lake Parkview Methodist Church, hosted an informational event on dementia, and this department specialist on the topic came and spoke. She provided so much information, answered many questions. Very helpful. Thank you, Barbara, for that. And then Kirk Anderson, our good friend, Fitzy's our friend, the mayor of St. Croix Falls, he had put in a question, and he's also a fire/EMS individual as well. Can fire EMS providers refer people to your program? I see a lot of older people who are really not safe on their own at home. That is a brilliant question, Kirk. I never would have thought of that. That there are, it's kind of like the red flag law that they always keep bringing up. Like if you see someone, and then can they take their gun away or something? I know that's just an analogy. So CNN and other people, please don't write a story about that. Is that something that they can refer? I mean, these are pretty close. I mean, these people are pretty knowledgeable about this stuff. They recognize things and see things that the average person doesn't.
Anybody can refer to us. And in fact, behind the scenes, we're working with lots of EMS already. So when we home deliver or Meals on Wheels, when we go to a home, it's a wellness check in addition to that meal. And so you can imagine that we do find individuals who have fallen, and we are calling 911. We also may get to the home and find that the door is locked. We might contact that emergency contact. And there have been several times, Chris can speak to this, where we are that person that finds somebody that needs assistance and is in trouble.
Well, yeah, I mean it breaks my heart, but I'm glad that somebody's there, because had they not been there, how long would they be at the bottom of the stairs unable to get up, for example?
And that's the wellness part that I didn't understand until I learned more about ADRC. I'm like, oh, the Meals on Wheels, it's great. They get a good meal once a day, but it's more than the meal. And that's why it's so important to have volunteers. How many meals do you do, Jen, just in Barron County a day?
So we're making around 500. Some of those, probably 350 are for Meals on Wheels. 350 people a day.
Where are the other 150?
So we have what like senior dining.
How do you think we feed our jailers and dispatchers? No wonder why you keep taking everyone from Washburn County keeps going down to Barron. They get free meals.
Good food. We don't get free meals. I don't want to start something. Yeah.
All right, fine.
I charge him full cost for everything.
So but again, where are the other 150 going?
So we have people who socialize at a meal, so they might be coming to a site like the Rice Lake Senior Center. Mm-hmm. We make the meals for them, and so 30 to 50 people may go there to have a meal together. And those are individuals that are still out and about in the community and looking for that hot meal versus somebody who might be homebound and need to have that meal delivered.
Okay, got it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fitzy. You were saying something.
No, that's just the important part of the socialization part of this, both at our senior centers, and that's why our senior centers are so important to our communities. But it's the security check, the safety net. I mean, if I have a family member and I live in a different state, Meals on Wheels is very important because I know my relative, my mom, my dad, whoever I'm having Meals on Wheels delivered, and they pay a fee usually. If they can pay, they pay, right, Jen? They pay for that meal.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. So this is donation based. So if somebody cannot afford that meal, they will still be provided that meal. We do rely heavily on donations from people who receive the meals to keep the program going. Generally, everyone wants to give as much as they can. So, we have a cost that meal costs. When somebody inquires about the program, we let them know about that. And then we have a suggested contribution and then ask people to contribute what they can. And I will tell you that the program is so valuable to them, they do try to contribute as much as they can. So I also want to mention, too, when we're talking about Meals on Wheels, really the whole mission and the goal of the ADRC is to keep people independent and healthy as long as possible so they can live where they want to live. And where do you think that is? In their home. And so oftentimes that Meals on Wheels service, that one meal a day, that wellness check and understanding what people might need more resources keeps them in their home for years longer than might otherwise be possible.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
slow down. Just because they get, I'm not trying to devalue, but one meal and a wellness check a day could keep them in the home for a year. It's one meal. I mean, that can't really.
when we survey people and we say, what does this meal mean to you? Is it one of 3 meals a day? Is it not even that? It's sometimes the only food some people are eating
And
because
it's
their inability to cook or grocery shop, or they
Right, the
do not
gross.
have supports. You know, serve many people who have their family all live in California, or they have no family, or there's been a family dynamic shift that people are burnt out from helping individuals. So there are so many different situations, and definitely that number one service that is helping people stay where they want to stay.
So, and Ben, that what Jen talked about, I mean, that's just looking forward to the next day, the meals being delivered. That keeps your mind sharp. I mean, it's the mental thing of this. I mean, and Barron County's invested in this program. I mean, Jen just got a new kitchen to expand our Meals on Wheels program
Ooh,
because it's going to grow as she's talking about the population increasing. You and I are getting older, Ben. We're going to be on ADRC pretty
pretty
soon.
soon. Yeah.
Pretty soon.
First is AARP, then it's ADRC. Yeah.
So, but as they grow, our communities of Barron, Rusk, Washburn County are all growing. COVID did a number on that. I mean, it allowed people to work from home. Now they've all moved to their lake home and made that their permanent home, which means they get services. And so when they retire, they're here. And so we've seen that increase there. We've seen that. So that's what's so important about this program. And now we have a bigger kitchen, a better kitchen to expand, because we'll be at 600 meals in a couple of years, and then we'll probably be at 700 meals. And the ADRC and the volunteers. And that's why I wanted Jen to come on this show, because not only to learn about all of these programs, but to say, hey, if you got Tuesday afternoon and you need something to do, you should be driving for Meals on Wheels. Take a hour out of your schedule.
All right.
You can do it Tuesday once a month. You can do it every week. You can do it however. They got a great scheduling program over there to do this. And that's why I want people to reach out to whether they're in Barron or wherever, reach out to your ADRC and volunteer.
When you volunteer for this, well, I don't know if it's like universal, but we'll just speak to the Barron and Rusk County, which you are the director of. Can you do it once a week? Can you do it even like something weird? Like I can do every third Thursday. Does it have to be a specific thing, or whenever you can, we'll figure it out. Just call us, and if you want to volunteer, we'll find something. Or is it really kind of a structured?
No, just how you described it is how we generally operate in Barron. So we try to work with that volunteer, whatever they have interest in. Our respite program also has volunteers. So we try to match people with what their schedules are, what they can do for us. That's why people like to be Meals on Wheels volunteers, because it's generally a group of them, and they'll say, hey, I'll take one day a week and 5 of us are going to do this route. Or we have routes out of about 7 or 8 different locations throughout the county. And so then we have someone helping kind of coordinate all of those volunteers. The volunteers call our office, and I would say that's generally true of every ADRC. So whatever county you live in, if you have interest in volunteering, call the ADRC, and they're going to do the same thing. They're going to try to match you with what your schedule is and what you're interested in doing.
And the respite part of it, I didn't know you could volunteer for that. What kind of time commitment is that? Because that's when you kind of go in. Wait, do they go? They go to the ADRC, right? They don't go to the home.
So our respite program, we have 2 locations in Barron County, and I should say too that not every county has a respite program, sure. But they're maybe not through the ADRC, but there may be through some other organization in the community that the ADRC would, of course, know about. But yeah, that is more of a time commitment, more of like, I'm gonna volunteer on this day. And so that our operation works from 9 to 2. And so it is a bigger ask of that volunteer, but very rewarding.
Yeah, apparently you also help with home health equipment.
Yes.
Is this an inside joke or something? Like Fitz and everyone, okay.
3 hours to talk about everything. So most ADRCs, again, not all, they might look different in what their services are, but we have we rent out home medical equipment. So we have quite what we call a loan closet. And so for $15, you can rent a walker, a wheelchair, a knee scooter, a cane for, 3 months. So we have many of the hospitals referring people who had just had surgery to our organization, and we set them up with what their needs are. A commode. There's people who have short-term rehab surgery needs. They don't want to go buy a $300
Sure.
piece of equipment. They just want to rent it from us.
Right,
So
like renting a tuxedo. I mean, how many times are you going to really use it? So you just rent it, don't buy it. That makes sense. I never thought about that if you just need that short term.
Yeah.
And how do you get that stuff? Is that donated or do you purchase that?
It's a combination. So we generally, a lot of equipment comes our way. So somebody that may have purchased that for a family member, then they don't have it. They no longer have a need for it. They will come to us and say, hey, can you use this? So we've got a pretty impressive loan closet, we call it.
Loan closet. And so the funding aspect of this, where is that? Donations, county money? Where does the money come from for just in Barron County, 24 routes, 500 meals a day, right? 17 full-time employees, 16 or 60 part-time, just talking about Barron County, it costs money. Where does that money come from?
Yep. So overarching the ADRC, we've got federal funding, state funding, local county funding, and then donations, many donations from local organizations, but then those specific donations from individuals who use our services. So it's quite a mix. Not to get too far in the weeds, federal and state funding has been pretty stagnant in many of the things that we do. So the county, Barron County, has really stepped up over the years to continue most of those services. But the people that actually use the services, we ask, for a suggested contribution, and we generally, almost everybody who can gives, and that really helps us maintain our services. So it's a wide variety of ways it's funded.
Fitzy, are there any misconceptions that you are aware of about this? Because we've had some other guests on, or there's some negative connotations to some things, or why is this building here when the homeless Benjamin House, right? There's always been some people that have I can't imagine anybody being like, Meals on Wheels, right? I mean, come on.
What I think the misconception is that people don't understand all the services that they can provide and help with. Sure. It's like if you're struggling out there right now, like you just like, I can't get to the grocery store because I take care of my mom, because a lot of us allow our parents, not my parents, aren't moving in with me, just in case they're watching. They're going right to the home. No.
That's it. Straight shot.
But there is kids out there. Maybe my brother will take them in. There is people that are looking for that break, looking for that, man, I got to work on Tuesdays, but they can care for themselves. But man, I just need a meal on Tuesdays. There's a lot of they can provide you, they can get you the help they need. It's just like the loan closet. The little things make a big difference. Right. Here's the perfect example of a county organization making the little things making a huge difference in people's lives. So ask the question, call, ask. If they can't help you, they'll refer you. They are a resource center. ADRC, I mean, that's in their name. So that's what we want. And so I think that's the biggest, thing out there is that.
Speaking of that, Fitzy, where do people, Jen, get a hold of you? What is the website? What is the phone number?
So, and just to be clear too, every county will have a local ADRC and also a local website that they use.
Sure.
So,
well, they're not on this morning, so they can suck it. Okay. We're just going to put your website in your phone number.
Yeah, perfect. I just want to make sure that if you are from another county, please know this is.
Oh, right. Yeah. Don't call if you're in like Polk County. Like Kirk, don't call that right now. Yeah, we don't.
We'll get you to the right place. We're helpful. So the website for Barron and Rusk is simply adrcconnections.org. All one word.
Okay. And phone number?
Our phone number, we have a toll-free phone number, 888-538-3031. 3031. 888-538-3031 for the Barron and Rusk ADRC. I wanted to mention too that, like Chris said, there's so many services, but there's so many resources in our community. So if somebody needs in-home help or snow plowing or housekeeping, there's all of these things that come into play when there may be different reasons why somebody's struggling in their home. And so there's just caregiving struggles, just ideas and resources. Our staff are here. We take pride in returning those calls very quickly to people. There's a lot of phone calls, but we work really hard to get back to people. And so we have on our website is an actual resource guide. So some people who aren't sure they want to call us, they can actually start digging around and looking at resources. And so that's laid out by different topics. And they might say, okay, well, I want to know more about memory loss, or I want to know about transportation, or I want more information about home maintenance or in-home help or assistive technology. There's so much information there that you can start on your own by looking through it, or you just simply give us a call, and we have expert trained people who kind of can
specialists, I believe is what we refer to them as.
Specialists, yes. So our information and assistance specialists, one more, they are jack of all trades, know a little bit about everything.
Yeah, I'm on your website right now, looking at programs, Medicare meals, nutrition, brain health, caregivers, find a ride. Yes, what about that ride part?
Yeah, transportation is a number one call we get.
Yeah, I would think that's huge, because you had mentioned something earlier when we were talking about the meals and at home. I was actually kind of thinking like, well, I think a lot of people probably could like make their own meal, but it was actually when you said the grocery shopping aspect of it, that, well, that's, even if they could, how are they supposed to go and get this? That's got to be a challenge. So what are the find a rides or the transportation aspect of it? Is it individual or is it like a bus?
So every county is different with this too, but we do have a fleet of vans, wheelchair accessible vans, and we employ drivers. Those are some of those part-time employees that we talked about, who actually, we provide rides Monday through Friday between 9 and 3. And so we give over 10,000 rides a year. And those are individuals who need to get to anything related to nutrition, the grocery store, anything related to doctor's appointments. We get people to work. So lots of great things happening, but we also work with other transportation providers within our county. So we're all working together. We don't want to duplicate services. So there's public transportation, Nemacoggin Transit. There's private taxis, Heartland Transportation. We all work together to try to meet that need, because many people, as that older population is growing, they stop driving.
And Ben, that's what my dad does. He does that on the side. When he was retired, he's looking for something to do 1 or 2 days a week. So my dad drives for them. I mean, if you're retired, you're looking for that 1 day a week job. Perfect. And that it's been nice for him. I know he enjoys it. He gets to get out there, see people, talk to people. So it's great for the drivers. It's great for the people he's picking up and taking places. So I know he enjoys it a lot.
On your list here, adult day programs, and it says, please check with your local adult day program to find out more services. That was during the pandemic. In here it says the outings and field trips. So what? I'm curious. Like, where do you guys go to, like a Twins game or something?
Right. That sounds great.
That does. That sounds awesome.
So this is related to our respite program. And so we are a state certified program, and it does require us to get people out and about into the community. So we'll take trips to, whoever will have us. We'll go to the apple orchards, pumpkin patches, do things that people would really enjoy to do. I mean, a wide variety of things. We bring people into the program based on what people's interests were. And then we also get them out in the community too.
All right. I think go through your website. Now I want to do that. And I want to answer questions about every specific thing. but that'll have to wait for another day, I think. Fitzy, is there anything else that you wanted to make sure that we asked Jen or talked about on this topic of ADRC in the Barron and Rusk County specifically?
No, I just know there's a lot of people out there looking for to volunteer as part of an organization.
That's awesome.
Over the last month, we've had a lot of different groups on, from the Benjamin House to the Boys and Girls Club to now ADRC, giving you opportunities to be part of your community. And I know that's what people want to do. So here's another great opportunity to make a difference. One day a week, one day a month, doing something you enjoy, getting out and, enjoying. I mean, I've been to the Rice Lake Senior Center when they've had their Meals on Wheels. It's just a great, fun afternoon for people to get out and, the meals. I just can't say enough about the Meals on Wheels program and how many volunteers it takes to do that. I think it's great.
Yeah. Who is the, Jen, do you happen to know who if I wanted to, like literally me, wanted to, as soon as we're finished, call, I was going to do this couple months ago and I forgot all about it. To our ADRC, who's the person in charge in Washburn County? Do you know? I mean, the director?
Linda Hand.
Linda Hand. Oh, I don't. Okay. Linda Hand. I'm going to call her right after the show, and I'm going to find out.
Dave Wilson.
No.
Hey, I got a question for Dirk. Before we get done here. Dirk,
yeah.
I heard that because of the warm weather, we're going to see more tornadoes in Wisconsin, not so much Barron County. Can he comment on that?
And while he's doing that, we'll quick put this up, and then I want to kind of circle back with you, Jen. But here's our official weatherman, Dirk Miller. Part 1, not much to talk about. Temps will remain above normal. Overall in the 40s. Slight chance of rain/snow on Thursday. For Thursday, Friday, so slight rain/snow mix, I guess. Okay, that's not too bad. Part 2. Well, looks like he has a part 3 coming up too. Weekend is looking to be nice. Warm temps in the 50s by Sunday, so 60. Again, it's daylight saving is going to be either starting or ending, whichever one it is this Sunday. So it's going to be like 60 degrees and sunny at 6:30 on Sunday night, which is just nuts. And the last one here, Thursday of last week, our area was moved into a D1. Oh. We now are a moderate drought. Oh, boy. Moderate drought conditions. Something we'll have to watch as we get closer to planting and growing season. There's still time for this to turn around. So that's not good. Potential drought, we could be in that category. Don't know what D1 is, but it doesn't sound good.
We're in a high fire danger. So, I mean, it's so fires.
With the wind and it's so dry. Yeah. What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, there you go. It depends. That's a great answer.
You sound like a weatherman, Dirk. Well, it might snow and it might rain and it might be sunny. Okay, thanks.
Well, that depends.
Come on, Dirk. You can do better than that.
I know.
Tell me it's jet stream and make something up. I don't know.
Something up.
Keep me in the loop on that. I don't need your answer today, but keep me in the loop on that. So.
All right. So, Jen, is there something that you wanted to make sure that we talked about that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Well, one more thing is we are required to get community input so that we understand the top issues that people are struggling with. Every 3 years, we do a community survey. Every ADRC does. And so we do have our survey going right now. If you go to our website, there's a link, complete our survey, and it's just a quick 6-question survey. We want to know what your top struggles are and what services you need to be a good caregiver and to age well and be healthy, as long as possible, where you want to age well. So take that survey because it gives us really good information about what our services should look like and what we need to do for the community.
All right. Well, I don't know if I can actually comment on these. Okay, I just did, I think. I don't know if that's a clickable thing, but I just put in ADRC. It's ADRCconnections.org. Is it an S or just connection?
Connections.
Oh, good. I put that in right. I don't know if it's a clickable link or not. I'll have to check when we're finished because I don't actually have Facebook up right now, so I can't see that. But if so, and then what was the phone number? Oh, I have it down here. 888-538-3031. Did I write that down correctly?
Yes, correct.
Okay, I'll put that in as well. All right, Fitzy, what do you have coming up this week?
Hockey tournament. It's playoff time for Jason and hockey team, so we're doing hockey this weekend. So, okay,
we're back to that. All right, next week we'll be able to do. We got to catch up on some sports. It's been so long since you and I just did a show together. Our first, we're gonna have we should just do a whole show of just sports just to catch up of a month and a half of missing on that. Oh,
Right.
good. Thank you. Dirk said the link works, so your link is in our site there as well. Thank you for sharing for the comment. Jen, thank you so much for coming on. What do you have coming up this week?
Oh, it's the same, helping support people with their questions, get their questions answered. It's always busy and always something different at the ADRC.
All right, and I'm calling Linda Hand as soon as we get finished, and I'm going to find out because
I'll give her a heads up,
Yeah. Well, why does everyone say that when I'm going to call somebody? I'll make sure I let them know you're calling. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business has provided quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today. See what they can do for you. 715-520-2271. Make sure you go onto the website, adrcconnections.org, if you live in that area, and take their survey. It's on there right now. Right now? Yep. That really will help them out getting that information that they're going to need. Special thank you to our guest, Director of the Aging and Disability Resource Center, or ADRC, of Barron and Rusk Counties, Jennifer Jako, for joining us today. That is a wrap for us, so until next week, thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.